Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Now today I'm going to be continuing the Overwatch League results. Obviously as week 1 has finished, I'm going to be now talking about the results, but before we get into that, let's talk about the matches for week 2. And there's only a total of 9 matches a week 2, so it's a very short week. So we have the Florida Mayhem versus the Vancouver Titans, the San Francisco Shock versus the Houston Outlaws, and the Atlanta Reign versus the Washington Justice on May 13th. Then next on May 14th, we got London versus Boston, Dallas versus Gladiators, and Vancouver versus the NYXL. And on May 15th, we have Houston versus Mayhem, Shock versus NYXL, Paris versus Toronto. So those are the matches for week 2. Let's now have a look at the results for week 1, and here they are. Here are the results. So the opening weekend, not really crazy. NYXL versus Gladiators, and the Gladiators did win. The NYXL do look a bit lost, in my opinion, especially in a completely new region to them. So they look a bit lost there. The Gladiators have been looking exceptionally well, as I predicted in my videos. So that's that. Shock versus Eternal. No surprises there. I still do think Eternal is one of the worst teams in the West region. So be it. Prop obviously popped off like always. So that was great to see. And I got the Atlanta Reign versus the Mayhem, and the Atlanta Reign won that 3-1. Pretty easy. I mean, I think it was also the first time we saw Doomfist play in the tank position by Hawks, which was pretty nice. I had a quick skim of the matches of week 1, but here are I guess the maps that they play. So it's the first time that we got to see Midtown Circuit Royale and New Queen Street. I do think Push is actually really competitive. It's a lot more quick, a lot more fast than what most Overwatch players are used to. Which is actually a good challenge. So that was really interesting to see. And then got Shock vs Eternal. Finn actually got MVP. I think Finn also did really good this that map as well. And then there's the Atlanta Reign and the Florida Mayhem. On May 6th, so we got the Shock versus London, and no surprise, there was a 3-0 to the Shock. Boston and Vancouver was I think one of the closest matches. It was very close. I mean, definitely you could tell that Vancouver has improved a lot, but until we get to the London game, not really. But it was 3-2 for the Uprising. Titans did put up a great fight, and then down here, we actually got a LAN match, again in the Battle of Texas between the Outlaws and the Fuel, and it was a very convincing 3-0 for the Outlaws. They played exceptional 5v5 Overwatch, in my opinion. So let's just have a look at all the stuff there. So Sam actually got MVP. It's interesting that Proper hasn't got an MVP yet, but Sam did really good as well. This crazy match, Uprising versus the Titans. Luckily, it wasn't the toilet bowl, so that was good enough. But it was 3-2 for the Uprising, and Punk got MVP for that. And then down here, Outlaws versus the Fuel, and it was Dante who got MVP, which definitely is well deserved because he actually played tank. Which is actually interesting. I think that's not the first time we've actually saw like a player actually transition to a completely different role. I mean, you could maybe say like the Outlaws as well with Lastra and Iris. I think who was it play? I think it was Lastra. I think who plays Lucio, and in the NYXL. Yeah, because I think both Myungbong and Gandenjin are flex support. I think is it Myungbong? I think who has to play main support. No, I might be wrong with that. But this is like a completely it's like checkmate transitioning to DPS and tank. That's actually what this is. Dante transition from DPS to tank. I don't know if he's actually still gonna be a DPS player. I'll be honest. Like I don't know if he's just gonna play. Like I don't know if he's just gonna be playing tank. But Dante playing Doomfist. Who knew that was actually gonna happen? May 7th, so the third day of week 1, got Justice versus Toronto. That was a 3-1 to the Justice. Reign versus NYXL. I was not expecting a 3-0 for the Reign. I thought it was at least gonna be like really close for New York, but Reign are just superior. And then Gladiators versus Uprising. The Gladiators did win that. So first time we've seen Justice and Toronto look very iffy. I mean, oh god. Obviously, this is just early days, so we can't really judge them that hard. But there's the Justice winning against Toronto. Happy actually got MVP. The new recruitment from formerly from the Houston Outlaws, and Lane Terrain versus NYXL, and MVP for Hawk. I think last time was actually Ultraviolet, right? Yep. So Ultraviolet got MVP in the first one. Hawk got MVP on the second one, and Gladiators versus Uprising. It was actually Reiner, and Reiner has actually had a very good start of the season as a rookie. So I think he has done an exceptionally well job for the Gladiators. May 8th, and we have some talking business to do because there's one match that I need to talk about in a separate video. And no, it is not and no, it's not Spitfire versus Titans or Defy versus Outlaws. It's actually Mayhem and Eternal, which I'll get to in a little bit. But the London Spitfire gained their first win of the season. I can't remember when. I think they had like a 2-match or 3-match losing streak because I think they won against the Titans, and they won against the Titans again. This time 3-0, which actually surprised me. And guess who got an MVP? The main thing that everyone was shitting on, Hardy, which actually surprised me. I'm maybe gonna look over the VOD again just to see what the hell happened and how Hardy somehow got MVP. I think he probably improved massively from last season, and hopefully he did. And if that's the case, then I'm expecting big things from the Spitfire. This one I would now need to talk about a bit. So Mayhem did get the win either way. Oh, it's crush! Look at that crushing defeat in New Queen Street. Look at that. 18.46 meters, I think that is, to 123.40 meters. That is a crushing defeat for the Eternal. But it says here, Florida initially captured all 3 points on Circuit Royale, but were required to do a redo their attack after they used an illegal maneuver. And I will show you that maneuver in a separate video that I will be making about this whole illegal thing. But I saw the video and it didn't look illegal. I thought it was like, I mean, maybe, but at the same time, it was probably like, I think there's definitely have been maps where you could ice wall up to the high place and just use a symmetric teleporter and drop down. I think you could. I think there is maps that you could easily do that. But I guess Soccer Royale is pretty powerful because you get to you basically like at the choke straight away. Like you don't have to walk like 5 or I don't know, like maybe like 5 minutes or 3 minutes of spawn to get to the choke point. That's Soccer Royale. They instantly got to the choke point, which I think that's probably why it was a bit of an eyebrow raise moment. But they were punished for that. But it doesn't matter because for Mayhem, because Mayhem got the win and Sir Majid got MVP. For Dallas versus Justice, the Dallas have been looking really inconsistent in this first week of matches. But they did win against the Washington Justice 3-0. And they won and Toronto won against a very dominant looking Houston Outlaws in a very close 3-2 match. So have a look at so actually we'll have a look at this as well. So that's Hardy there. 3-0. Edison got MVP of the match, and then here 3-2. Toronto winning against Houston. Very close game in Kings Row, my god. But Muse was the MVP on that match. Let's now have a look at the standings. So obviously the East Coast, so the East standings have not started. But here are the standings as of right now for the West. So the Shock, Reign, and the Gladiators are currently 2-0. They are the only teams who are 2-0, so that'll be interesting of how long that streak goes. But those we have are definitely, as of right now, the favorites coming into the kickoff clash. I guess the playoffs, I guess you can say. Behind them, we got Outlaws, Dallas, Mayhem, Spitfire, Justice, Uprising, and the Defiant, all with 1 all. Outlaws does have a positive map differential of +2. Just as Uprising and Defiant have a -1 map differential, Mayhem, Dallas, and Spitfire have a 0 map differential. And then from 11th to 12th, we got the Titans, NYXL, and the Eternal. All of those teams are 0 and 2. The Titans have a better map differential than NYXL and the Eternal, which is a -4 map differential, while the NYXL and the Eternal have a -5 map differential. I also forgot to mention that the Shock has a +6 map differential, the Rain has a +5 map differential, and the Gladiators have a +4 map differential. So the Shock have currently 3-0'd every single team as of right now. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They have their very, very weak teams of the Eternal and the Spitfire. We really have to see how they go in the next match, which is the Outlaws, because I think the Outlaws are an actual good team. I guess you can maybe, I mean, I am saying that they're actually currently are 1-0 and they're maybe the most actually no, I think both Texas teams are the most inconsistent teams as of right now in the Overwatch League. It's like got like this one over here where the Outlaws crushed the Fuel, probably maybe because it was like on home soil for the Outlaws, so they have like the crowd advantage. But then they just it was still a close game against the Fire, so I wouldn't really give them the benefit of the doubt. But the Fuel though, Dallas Fuel got crushed by the Outlaws, and they crushed the Justice. Don't they, okay, I mean, cool, I guess, but I mean, doesn't really say a lot about the Fuel, huh? All I know is that they are incredibly inconsistent. But you know, what can you really do about it? So just a reminder that the matches, so week 2 matches, we got Mayhem versus Titus, Shock versus Outlaws, and Rain versus Justice. For the opening, uh, for the opening 3 matches for week 2. Also, Hammond will be back into the lineup as he was disabled for a game-breaking bug, which I think caused the game to crash, if I remember correctly, but I can't remember though. I think we might be also getting the patch because there was a new patch that occurred. I think during some of the week 1 matches. So hopefully we get to see that. And yes, that does include the big goals and Yada kick, which is actually pretty funny. But that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys on next time in the next one. Goodbye.